Okay, so today we're going to talk about day trading strategies for Forex traders. And day trading strategies, what I mean by that is that I generally expect with my day trading strategies to get into a trade and then for the trade to reach its profit target within the same trading day. Most of the times they'll reach their profit targets within the same trading session, but it really depends on the market environment, how fast price is moving. If it's maybe a few hours or a few trading sessions before a major economic announcement, price might move sideways and inside a consolidation. So it might take a little bit longer for it to actually reach its profit target. But generally, I'm hoping that when I get into the trade, I will close the trade with a profit within the same trading day. But please keep in mind that it will change from day to day. You have to be paying attention to the market environment. I'm going to show you a couple of examples, some of them that were trades that we actually executed today. Now, before I begin, though, please understand, my results are not typical. And when I talk about making money, I'm not implying that you or anyone else will achieve results. It really does require a strong understanding of how to use this particular strategy that I'm going to share with you today, because I don't want to make any promises to you that just as a result of you watching this video, I know it's exciting to learn what I call, and a lot of my subscribers and students call, the easiest trading strategy ever. It really is. It's very, very simple, and not only is it simple, but it reduces a lot of the stress that's involved, because I know that when I first started trading, and many of my coaching students and subscribers, when they tell me and they express to me that their biggest challenge is that they don't have a system that they can duplicate. They don't have a system that tells them precisely when to get in and where to get out with a profit, what to do, when to get out, where to put your stop loss. Everybody's always changing everything. I know because I did the same thing. So this system is very, very structured. It tells you precisely when to get in. And I really mean, it will tell you exactly, like when you see this setup, you'll know exactly what to do. There's no mistaking it. And there's only one indicator to look at to confirm the trade. So it's very, very easy. But as a result of watching this presentation today, and I am recording this, by the way, so it will be in video format. So if you watch the replay, you get the opportunity to watch it as often as possible if you're watching it today, and you can watch the replay as well. But as a result of watching this, please be very careful, though. I mean, if you watch the replay a few times because you want to understand it, I'm going to share with you everything that I'm doing here, but there are some specific rules, and you also want to know the type of conditions that is not the perfect environment for this particular technique. This technique that we're going to trade today is a reversal. So I'll explain all about that when we get to the actual setup. Also, though, please know that when I talk about my clients, my subscribers, please know that their results are not typical, because, again, they're actually doing the work that's involved to either create a hands-free trading system, or they're doing the work that's involved to understand when to accurately and when to correctly execute this trade and when not to. Because once you have the system in your mind, you've got it, you understand it, you know what to do with it, you also need to know when not to use it, because there are times that you should not be using particular strategies in the opposite type of trading environment. So if we're trading reversals off of support and resistance, then you want to trade off of support and resistance. You don't want to trade and use that technique in a trending market. It's probably not going to work. When I first heard these concepts, my first year of trading, I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know when they would tell me things like that. So it really takes a really good understanding so that way you're executing these trades correctly. All business entails risk. I know everybody knows that. And when I show you numbers later on in this presentation, they're to illustrate the power and the potential of this trading system. And in no way am I implying that the scenario I describe will actually happen to you or anyone else, because you really have to make the effort, again, to either turn this system into an automated trading system so that it will execute the trades for you, or if you want to execute these trades yourself, you really have to understand when to use them correctly. Now, how this webinar is different than others. I'm obviously going to make an offer at the end of it, and it involves working with me and having me trade for you. But the information in this webinar is how-to material. I am going to show you how to do some things today that will help you make your trading easier, and then I'll offer to help you with it to make sure that you succeed. Now, I deliberately made my trading system as easy as possible to follow. And of course, I have the advantage to say that. I don't mean any disrespect when I say it's easy, but I developed it and I use it every day. But when I first started applying these methods, that was a big challenge, was in following the plan. It was very hard because I was still in the habit and the mindset of using the same bad habits that I had created in the first few months of my trading career. It was really hard to let go of a lot of the things that I was using that wasn't working, because I went off on my own to develop the system by myself. Nobody really gave this system to me, and I learned through trial and error. I used my own live account, real money, to figure all of this out. Now, I didn't want a system that was just going to work for a little while and then stop working. And what I mean by that is that I remember spending a lot of time on websites and forums like Forex Factory. And I kept seeing a lot of these threads about certain types of signals or systems that these guys would develop and share on Forex Factory. And then I would, instead of wasting a lot of time reading, 15, 20, 30 different pages, I would go right to the very end and look at the last few posts to see what people were saying about it. And very often what I found was that a lot of people would say, is this thread dead? Or, this system isn't working anymore. Why? And just things like that. So I realized that there were systems that didn't work. They were like more or less fad techniques, or they were based on real simple averages. But I also found out that a lot of the people on those sites were, just trying to create a lot of activity so they could try to move some of those people off of Forex Factory and onto their website so they could sell them a service. And a lot of the guys really weren't qualified for teaching anybody. So that's what I meant by not, using a system that didn't work after a little while. I wanted a system. When I built my system, I kept telling myself I wanted a system that's easy to use, easy to verify, so that I can use this system over and over again. So I can confirm that I had a trade and I had the appropriate signal, and then execute the trade with the same profit and stop loss expectations every single time. I'm going to show you exactly what I mean by that with this technique. So I wanted the system really easy to use and very easy to apply, because I also knew, first of all, I knew I was going to be trading for the rest of my life. I didn't want to get burned out in the process, because some of the techniques that I was using were really, they were really elaborate. They were things that I was learning from books and things like that. I would go to the library, I would go to Barnes & Noble, the bookstores on the weekends, and I would buy all kinds of books. And these systems, a lot of them were really complicated, and I just didn't want to read a lot of the stuff that they were talking about. I just wanted a system that was going to show me when a specific pattern was going to show up. First of all, I really didn't even know if it was possible, because all of my previous experience was just all negative. I would join all these different chat rooms and I was using different signal services. None of them worked. But at the same time, I also wanted to be able to give this business to my children. I wanted to be able to teach my children how to use these techniques. So I wanted it to be really easy. I didn't want to get burned out, and I wanted my children to be able to apply it and understand what it was that I was talking about. So I know exactly how it feels to buy lots of books, trading courses, chat room services, signal services, subscriptions, everything, and then to have them all fail miserably. So when I first started trading in my first year, I spent $2,000 on a trading course. And it was a physical product. It was sent to my home, and it consisted of nothing more than free education that's available on forums and blogs. It was things like textbook knowledge, like, simple moving averages, techniques when the, one moving average crosses another one, what you should do, how to use indicators to try to find trades. And then it would also talk about like when the best time is to trade Forex. I mean, it was really, really simple things like that. It was like 17 CDs and manuals that filled up all of this information. And it looked like a lot of information that I could probably apply, but it didn't work. When I was done with the trading course, this $2,000 trading course, I still didn't have a trading system. It didn't show me how to prepare my own trading plan. And that's what I needed. I needed something that I could follow. I needed rules. And it didn't show me how to create any of that. The other thing was, when the market was open for trading the very next day, because I finished all of my going through all of these CDs and manuals by Sunday, I still didn't know what to do. I didn't know when to get in and when to get out. It didn't help me at all in that regard. So going through that process, it made me feel angry and at times desperate. But what made the difference for me is that I stopped and I committed myself to understanding the markets and developing my own system. But most people don't get that opportunity to spend all their time trying to figure out the markets and how they work. They have full-time jobs or they operate a full-time business. And making that transition to becoming a full-time trader is really difficult for a lot of people, and it takes a lot of time. What I did is I basically locked myself up in my office and I worked 7 days a week around the clock to build my trading system. And what I mean by that, obviously the market is closed on Friday and it's closed on Saturday and doesn't open until Sunday. I'm in California, so it opens for trading at 2 o'clock in the afternoon where I live. And but I would literally on Friday nights, I would look at closed candles. I mean, I was looking at my charts and I would move one candle at a time. And I just spent numerous hours, thousands, tens of thousands of hours looking at all of this information, trying to sort through these patterns and looking at the right and learning about indicators. it was exhausting. And I've estimated that it cost me over $300,000 in real trading losses, real money, to figure all of this material, all of these trading systems, and the same one that I'm going to share with you today. Of course, I made money during that time, or I wouldn't have been able to continue trading, but it really has cost me $300,000 at least in trading losses to figure all of this information out. So who this webinar is for, if you trade on your own and you're still struggling to earn profits, this webinar is definitely for you. If you're tired of using countless signal services and trading courses that don't work, then this webinar is definitely for you. And if you simply don't have as much time as you would like to trade your own account full-time, then the information I'm going to share with you, especially how to turn all of this and create a hands-free automated trading system, all this information is definitely for you. Also, if you'd like to truly see consistent monthly profits every month that you can withdraw from your trading account so that you can pay your bills on a monthly basis and count on that money, then this webinar is definitely for you. So the main objective is total transformation. I want to help you achieve outstanding trading results, and I want to help you earn as much as you feel you're worth and to achieve your financial goals, because I know you had probably some big goals. If you were like me, I had some big goals about what I was going to do with the money and the riches I was going to earn from trading. I knew that you could make unlimited amounts of money from trading. I just needed the right system. I also want to help you reduce your trading business to total simplicity, because there are really only 3 moving parts to this program. And I want to help you make trading fun again, because it really can be fun. I went through a time in my trading career, the first year, I was afraid to execute my next trade. It was horrible. I mean, I was saying all kinds of horrible things about myself and to myself, and the thoughts that I was thinking. I was thinking, what a fool I was, and it was just such a challenge. It doesn't have to be like that. It really can be fun, even when you experience a loss. It's a matter of understanding why you experience that loss, and then working on correcting the behavior so that you don't continue to make the same mistakes. But in order to do that, you have to have a trading system that works to begin with. And I'm going to share that with you in just a few minutes. So who am I? I started trading in 2001. I began trading futures. And a few months after that, I started trading Forex. I actually opened up my first Forex trading account with FXCM. And I've been trading both ever since. I've suffered the same experiences that most new traders do. And I ultimately had to stop following all of the services that I was using, these trading services. They weren't working for me, and I had to figure out this entire trading system on my own. And it took me about 1.5 years to actually start seeing results, consistent results, that I could live off of. And what that means is I was able to send home money every month to pay my bills. And it took a while. It really did. It was a lot of hard work and constant dedication, constant drive to figure this out. So I developed my entire trading system on my own. And I started a small managed fund in 2005. And as I started making more money from my trading, my family and my friends, they wanted to know how I was doing it. So I started a private Yahoo instant message group, one of those Yahoo groups back then, and that ultimately led into my first chat room. A lot of the people in that Yahoo group kept telling me, you should open up a chat room. There's a lot more functionality with the chat room. So I did that back in 2007, and I've been teaching and coaching and providing trading services since 2007, and I continue to this day. In 2012, my trading system generated me and my students 17,442 pips. In 2013, my system generated me and my students 29,370 pips. And in 2014, we earned 27,771 pips. That's a result of me executing and calling out these trades live. Now, that included every position. I'm not like one of those guys that you see out there that leaves these trades that are negative, like 2 or 3 or 400 pips, and then hopes that the trades come back to profit. That includes every single trade, and I always use a stop loss. And this technique that I'm going to teach you today uses a stop loss, and it's very affordable. That's, I think, one of the first things that you're going to appreciate is that you know what your risk is every time you execute this particular trade. So this is what I'm going to teach you in this webinar. I'm going to show you a really simple system, and if you learn to use it correctly, you can earn at least 1,000 pips per month. That means that, first of all, in order to earn at least 1,000 pips per month, you can certainly earn more than that. First of all, it really depends on the market conditions, the market environments, and how many opportunities that you see for this particular technique to set up. Obviously, the more you apply yourself, the more pips you're going to earn. Everybody knows that. But again, as I said earlier, I'm going to show you later on in the presentation how you can automate this so that it will happen automatically for you. But even better than earning 1,000 pips, how you can keep it. I want to show you how you can keep it, because a lot of people, they'll make money and they'll be up maybe 100 pips or 80 pips or 60 pips or 30 pips. They'll be really proud. It takes a lot of work to make money in this business and to earn the pips that you normally will on a particular trade. But then they give it all back because they don't have a system that shows them exactly what to do over and over, where they can repeat it and then start locking in and keeping those profits. So no more giving back all of your profits and closing each month with a loss. From now on, you're going to close each month with a positive monthly gain. So here's what you need. This is just one approach to making 1,000 pips per month and keeping it. This is just one technique. I have many other different strategies in my trading system. But today what I'm going to share with you is a trading system. It's also like a little mini business plan that I call the HL30 system. And the reason that I call it a mini business plan is that many of my subscribers and my coaching students, they will exclusively use just this HL30 trading system once they learn it. They don't even want to learn any of the other techniques and the strategies that I use on a regular basis. They just want to use the HL30. And you can make a really a solid trading business with this particular system. It will make you and can help you earn at least 1,000 pips a month if you apply more of your time. Obviously, you're going to make sure that you get closer to the 1,000 pips, and exclusively just from using this HL30 trading system. Now, number two, obviously with any business, you need a control method for increasing the number of winning trades and reducing the number of losing trades. It's just like in operating a business. You want to be able to reduce waste and repeat the things that are making you money. Also, number three, you need to be using realistic goals that encourage better performance and increase confidence. So with my trading, with this HL30 system, you also will learn how to use psychological exercises that will prevent you from making mistakes that most people normally make. It's the same kind of thing that you see from a lot of other Forex mentors. They think it'll help you and it seems positive, but it's really a negative experience, and it puts more pressure on an inexperienced trader who doesn't have a solid trading system in place. I'll show you exactly what I mean. Now, this system, this HL30 system, it's best used for day trading. It's not like a swing trading technique. It is a reversal trading system. I do have other techniques that I call the Tech 1 trade and the T2 pattern that I can use on the larger time frames like the 4-hour or the daily chart. But the one that we're going to talk about today is the HL30, and you'll see exactly why it has to be used for day trading, because it's very, very precise. The best results for executing this trade are on a 30-minute chart. There are only 4 basic candle patterns and 1 indicator to use. I'll show you exactly what those are. And you need to apply this technique to more than just one currency pair. I know that there's a temptation in the beginning to just, when you're learning a new trading system, and this is okay, to apply it to just one currency pair. I did that. But what I found was, and when I was just focusing on one currency pair, I found that if the trading technique doesn't set up on that particular day, and I'm waiting 8, 9, 10 hours for the trade to set up on just one currency pair, and I'm not looking at any others, I don't get a trade. So then there's that anticipation of waiting for the trade, and then the expectation that I sat there for 8, 9, 10 hours and I didn't even get a signal. But it might have set up on, for example, the pound dollar or the dollar Swiss. So by looking at more than just one currency pair, you're going to get more opportunities. I'm going to show you exactly what we did today. Also, the trades that I executed, there were a couple of trades that set up almost at the same time, but I got different opportunities, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. So by looking at more than just one currency pair, you're going to get more trading opportunities. It's not that hard once you get used to it, and you just look for this same trading technique and this signal over and over again. So we're going to start with the HL30 because it's not only easy to use, but if used correctly, it can result in 20, 40, or even 80 pips, even more, sometimes even 120 pips in the first few hours of the new trading day. I'll show you what that means. So let's get started. The first thing we need to do for the HL30 is to identify the high and the low of the previous day. Now, these rules are very, very precise. They're very specific to this technique. If you change any of these parameters or any of these rules, you're going to get different results. And if you don't understand any of these rules, you have to ask me for help. I'm more than willing to help you, but you need to understand how to use it, because you can't change it and try to make it work or fit. If you leave anything out, it's not going to work. I'll show you what I mean, some examples of how as I started to develop this technique, I started to change some of the concepts and some of the parameters of this particular technique, and it started to fail. And I had to go back to the original rules, because and I know this as a result of testing it, and then it started to work the way it was supposed to. So I'll show you exactly what that means. So you identify the high and the low. So where's the cutoff point? Many people will ask, if they're new in the business, they'll say, well, how do you know when the start of a new day is in Forex? Because it's always 24 hours, it rolls right over. The industry standard, since I've been in this business, has always been 5 p.m. 5 p.m. New York time or Eastern time. That is the rollover period. That's also considered the start of a new day. If you start to look at the high and the low of the previous day, at any other time other than 5 p.m., you're going to get different results. I did that. I started actually looking at it and started identifying the previous day's high and low at 7 p.m. once. I did that. Again, I'm in California, so I thought, I'll go ahead and test it out and see what it does. When I started changing it, I got different highs and lows, obviously, because I was doing it 2 hours later, and my trade started to fail. So you have to stick to the 5 p.m. rollover period. You can't change it. You can't make it 4:30. You can't make it 3:30. It has to be 5 p.m. Now, when we identify the high and the low of the previous day according to the 5 p.m. rollover period, I then mark off a 10 pip range for the high and the low. I'm going to show you what that looks like in a chart right now, because in just a moment, because right now it probably won't make any sense until you see it. I also have to wait for price to approach that 10 pip range. Again, I'll show you what that looks like on a chart, and then I wait for a reversal candle pattern. I'll show you what those are in just a minute. Once the reversal candle pattern occurs or appears, and I can confirm it, I confirm the CCI with that particular candle pattern. And the CCI is set at 14. I don't use any other indicator with this technique. If the signal confirms and the CCI confirms, I enter on the close of the reversal signal candle pattern. And then I use the appropriate profit target and stop loss. So for the majors, and what I consider the majors are the pound dollar, the euro dollar, the dollar Swiss, and the dollar yen. I use a 20 pip stop and a 20 pip target. But you can actually make more than just 20 pips on the trade. I'll show you an example. So we're going to look at one in just a minute, but you have to use the same, the parameters, these precise entries, the precise target, and the stop loss. Don't change the targets, don't change the stop loss, or you're going to get different results. You can't get into a trade like an HL30 and then, if you see a retest of, let's say, the stop loss, if it goes down maybe minus 15 points, you might be tempted to say, oh, this isn't going to work, and then close it out. And then it'll stop minus 18 points and then bounce back up and go to the target. So you're going to get different results. Just let it work. I'll show you exactly why it's so profitable and why you just need to leave it alone. I sort of refer to this technique as like an on or off switch. Everything confirms, or I just leave it alone. And I look on to the next currency pair to try to see if I can find the HL30 that gives me solid confirmation. And then once I'm in the trade, I just leave it alone. I set in the stop, I set in the target, take profit target, and that's it. I just leave it alone. Let's go ahead and take a look at one now. So this was a while back. This is an example, and I want to show you a couple of different candle patterns. I want to show you how not everything is perfect in trading. Sometimes you'll be waiting for an evening star or a morning star or a bullish and bearish engulfing candle, and you'll see it reverse, but it doesn't look like some of the pictures in the books about candle patterns. And I learned that. I started thinking that, when I first started trading and I was learning about candle patterns, I knew and I could see that some of these reversals were happening, but they weren't perfect engulfing candles, or they weren't perfect evening star patterns. Some of them are, but not all of them. And then I learned that as you improve your ability and your skill to identify these reversal patterns, you can start to formulate or incorporate additional rules and more advanced candle patterns. You'll notice that there's like dark cloud covers and piercing patterns and all kinds of different candle patterns in a lot of these books. I use the basic candle patterns, and I want to tell you that it's really important that you stick to the candle patterns that you are comfortable using right now. The advanced candle patterns will eventually come to you, but what you want to do is stick with the ones that you understand. If you look at a candle pattern and you're not sure, don't take the trade. Just let it go, because eventually you're going to see a picture-perfect candle pattern. And when you see those picture-perfect candle patterns, that's the trade you want to execute. You do not want to trade and get into a trade and be worried about the trade the entire time, because you're not going to be focusing on what's actually happening. You're going to be focusing on what you want to have happen, and you're not going to learn anything as a result. So you really want to take the picture-perfect ones that you understand at this moment, and then eventually, as you're making money, you're going to be more comfortable with the technique and the strategy, and you'll be able to apply some of these advanced candle patterns later on down the road as you experience this technique. This particular trade, on this particular day, I executed and called out this trade with the trade copier as well with my coaching students. And this was a more advanced candle pattern. But I want to share with you a little technique, a little tip. I execute this trade on the 30-minute chart. But I'm also looking at the 1-hour chart for the same currency pair, because very often, two candles, for example, on a 30-minute chart will give me a 1-hour close completed candle. And it might look like an engulfing candle pattern on the 1-hour, but it looked like two small little candles that were the equivalent of an engulfing candle pattern on the 1-hour. You probably know what I mean. So that's what I'm talking about, is that sometimes what might not seem obvious on the 30-minute might look really obvious on a 1-hour chart. So on this particular day, you'll notice that right there in the center, right where my arrow is moving, this was that was the start of the new day. And you'll notice that the candles or price was actually it closed for the day at the very lows. That doesn't always happen, of course. You know that probably doesn't always happen. You'll notice over here on this particular day, the last day there, price closed in the middle of the trading range. On this particular day, at the start of the new day, right there in the middle where my cursor is, that red line indicates that 5 p.m. rollover. So the very first white candle inside of that circle wasn't a reversal candle pattern. I needed to wait a little bit more. And what I normally do with a lot of these reversal candle patterns is I'm waiting for candles to close more than 50% of the length of the last bearish candle. Just the same if I was going to sell it. I'd have to close more than 50% of the length of the last bullish candle. Now, at the same time, I'm also watching the 1-hour time frame, because when the third candle closed here, it finally closed more than 50% of the length of that bearish candle. That was my signal. That was my entry at 1.6542 on the pound dollar. So 1.65 was on the close of that candle. When that candle closed, I was also looking at the 1-hour time frame, and it was closing a lot deeper into the last bearish candle. So that helped me with my confirmation. Now, when I get my closed candle, that's my reversal signal candle, but I now have to go back and look at the CCI indicator to make sure that the CCI indicator is printing a higher reading. If I'm going to trade a bounce off of support, the CCI has to be printing a higher reading on the closed signal candle. It has to be printing a higher reading than the previous day's low CCI reading. And that's exactly what we got here. That's the final step of confirmation. Now, I talked about a 10 pip range. I'm going to show you that in just a moment. But what that means is where price closed on the previous day, I know where my low and my high is of the previous day. The low here was right where that low support, that support level, that red support line is. That's the low of the previous day. And price needs to come down to at least 10 pips above the low of the previous day, but it cannot exceed 10 pips below the low of the previous day. If it exceeds these parameters, it can still be a reversal, but I won't execute it with the trade rules for the HL30. You can't really use a 20 pip stop and a 20 pip target, because if it exceeds, let's say for example, if it went down lower than 10 pips lower than the previous day's low, it could still be a reversal, but I would have to use a different size stop loss in most cases, just in case of a retest. So the 20 pip stop and the 20 pip target won't keep you into the trade. So if it doesn't match up, if it doesn't line up, and I have a checklist for the HL30, by the way, so you can go down when you see a reversal signal candle and you think you see one, you can go right down the checklist. There's only 3 things to check off to make sure that you have the right confirmation of an HL30. It's very easy. You just repeat the same procedure. But there are 3 rules that have to be in place, or criteria, for this HL30 to be confirmed. Now, I get in on the close of the reversal signal candle, which was 1.6542. Everything confirmed with the CCI. I use a 20 pip stop and a 20 pip target. Here's my stop. If I'm getting in at 42, my stop's going to be down here at 22. If I'm getting in at 42, then my first profit target is going to be 62. Remember, a 20 pip target, a 20 pip stop. Now, I mentioned earlier that it's possible to actually earn more than just 20 pips on this trade. So in a situation like this, if we want to get more profit out of the trade, what we're doing is trading it to a second target, which would be an additional 20 pips beyond the first target. That's it. I don't change the parameters, just try to follow this rule. Very often on days like this, and it doesn't happen all the time, but it happens often enough to prepare for it and to trade it just like this, the trend will continue. So again, entering in here at 42, the first target here is at 62. You can see that there was a retest of the low, but it didn't go anywhere near the stop. That is usually pretty normal. I do want to share with you, though, that occasionally price will come down. Sometimes price will come down to about maybe 2 or 3 pips away from my stop loss. And please keep in mind that we're using a 20 pip stop, and that is extremely small for trading. I mean, in trading, even on a 30-minute chart, it can be very small for trading the stop loss. It's a small stop loss to be used anyway, so it's very affordable. So occasionally we have to prepare or expect there's going to be a test of the stop. I've actually had some trades that have gone down minus 18 pips, and then they bounce, and then they move straight to the target. So just leave it alone. That's why when I get into the trade, I set the take profit and the stop loss. So the way you would execute a trade like this, you can see that this is actually as a result of economic data. And very often, economic data, if I get into a trade before economic data, that economic data is what moves price to my target. This was obviously during a major economic event that actually pushed price around, and that was a great opportunity for us to close and lock in profits at the first target. So if we want to trade the trend that develops afterwards, if that in fact is what happens for this particular day, the way I do this is I execute 2 lots when I open the trade. Please keep in mind, though, if this trade was to fail completely and you have 2 lots open on the trade, obviously if you get stopped out using a 20 pip stop loss, you're going to experience what the equivalent of a 40 pip stop loss. But you can improve your performance and your results with the HL30 by just simply knowing when to use this trade and when not to use this trade. There are 3 rules that are in addition to the 3 of the checklists for the criteria for a qualified HL30. In addition, you need to be aware of the conditions, and there are 3 rules that will help you identify if it might be a failed HL30. So you can improve this trade so that way you can avoid some of these failed trades, or most of them. Now, if we enter the trade with 2 lots, I close the first lot at the first target. I don't change the stop loss until the first target until price has reached the first target. Once price has reached the first target, I close my first lot, earning and locking in the 20 pips. Then I move the stop loss to a break-even stop up here. So let's say, for example, with this particular broker, I had a 2 pip spread. If I get in at 42, I'd have to set the stop at 44. That way I protect the profits on the first lot to the first target. Because if there's no trend that develops afterwards and price comes back down here, I would then close the second lot at 0, earning nothing on the second lot, but still earning the 20 pip profits on the first. But if it continues and it trends like this, then the second lot is closed at the additional 20 pip beyond that first target, and I would effectively earn 40 pips on that second lot because the entry was here at 42 and I closed the second lot at 82. So effectively, you could earn 60 pips on this trade. That actually happened in a few HL30s, on a few HL30s today. Today, by the way, is December 3rd, 2015. This was also as a result of ECB, Mario Draghi. You probably traded it. FOMC today. The possibility if Janet Yellen's actually going to raise interest rates this month. I personally don't really think so, but even if she does, we made a great deal of money today. So you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. That's how this particular technique works. Now, so let's get really into a lot of the details now. Here, we're going to show you the setup. So this dotted line right here is the start of a new day. That's 5 p.m. New York time. Now, if you're looking at this and you're wondering how I got those dotted lines drawn in there, you can either manually set them in, or you can go into MetaTrader. This is actually a MetaTrader platform, and you can go into the options, and there is a setting called period separators. I believe it's called. It might change, on which platform you're using, but it's basically period separators, and it will automatically draw these lines for you when the start of a new day occurs. Now, I have to warn you, if your broker is not or doesn't draw these lines at that 5 p.m. rollover, and they're not, their server time setting isn't correct, where it would accurately draw these dotted lines, the period separators at the 5 p.m. New York rollover, then you're going to get different results, and these HL30s are going to fail. So if your broker doesn't draw them in at 5 p.m., then don't use the period separators. Just manually draw them in at 5 p.m. and start looking for the trade. So everything's perfect here. We've got the 5 p.m. rollover. And we know at that point when the 5 p.m. rollover occurs, I'm actively usually at my desk looking for trades. So I set up my high and my low for the previous day. This is the previous day's trading range. Again, this is a 30-minute chart, just using the CCI indicator set at 14. So I have my high and my low. The high on this chart is 1.3567, and the low here is 1.3507. Now, I talked about that 10 pip range. Wherever price is at the start of a new day, let's say it was down here in the middle of this trading range, price needs to approach the high or the low within a 10 pip range. So this is what it actually looks like. Here is the 10 pip range. So we know what the high is. The high of the previous day was 1.3567. So price needs to go up to at least 1.3557 to qualify for an HL30, but it cannot exceed 10 pips above the previous day's high, which would be 1.3577. Now, again, it's very possible that price could rally all the way up here, exceed 1.3577, and still create a reversal candle pattern and drop all the way down here. But if it did that and it exceeded these parameters, then I would not trade it as an HL30, and I can't use a 20 pip stop. It's probably going to be a reversal, but the possibility of it retesting with the distance this far means that I would probably have to use the last price swing high and put a stop maybe 10, 15 pips above that, which would mean potentially using a stop larger than 20 pips. The reason we can use the 20 pips stop and 20 pip target is if it qualifies and it remains within this structure, the 10 pip range. Technically, it is 20 pips from that high to this blue support level here, that low. But the reason that I call it the 10 pip range is that it's just going in within this 10 pips of the previous day's high. That's why I call it the 10 pip range. So again, it has to remain within this range to qualify for step one of a possible HL30. Now on the first 30-minute candle, it did that. It moved up inside of the 10 pip range. So it's already fulfilled step number one of a possible HL30. So then I have to wait for a reversal candle. That's step number two. Now in this instance, I told you that I was going to show you some examples that are reversal candle patterns, but they're not picture perfect. It's not a perfect evening star or a perfect morning star or a perfect engulfing candle yet. I'm going to show you some that are, and I highly recommend that if those are the only ones, these picture perfect ones that you can identify, don't start messing around with the ones that don't really make a whole lot of sense. If you're guessing, don't do it. But again, that tip that I shared with you a few minutes ago, by using the 1 hour chart, I was looking at a 1 hour chart here, and these two 30-minute candles closed as a 1 hour bearish engulfing candle. So that was also my signal. But you can see that this is also closing more than 50% of the length of that last bullish candle. That's precisely what I want. So this is the reversal candle on the close of that last candle right here. The only thing I need to do, that's step number two, the reversal candle pattern. The only thing I need to do now is step number three, confirm with the CCI that if I'm going to sell it off resistance, that the CCI is printing a lower reading on the closed confirmed reversal signal candle compared to the previous day's high CCI reading, which was back up here. And it is. There cannot be any divergence in this CCI indicator, or you shouldn't take the trade. It will probably fail. So my entry is on the close of this candle. My entry was 1.3544. Now, I did not put that price tag right here at the right location. It's supposed to be here at 1.3524, but you'll see how it ends up going to 24 in just a moment here. So the stop is back up here at 1.3564, back up here. So let's go ahead and take this out, a few charts, a few candles. And you'll notice that there was a couple of different retests up here, but it did not stop me out with the 20 pip stop. A couple of retests. Remember, every day is going to be a little bit different. Some days we might get one test of support or resistance, and then it'll rally. Other days it'll move just like this. Now, this one didn't actually hit that 24. Here's where it actually hit the 24 target a few hours later. Every day is different. It really depends on the economic data that's available, perhaps what happened the previous day. But this one paid and reached the 20 pip target. Now, This happens very often. We actually did this just a couple of days ago on an HL30 where we get an HL30 to sell it off of resistance to the downside, and then in the same day we can trade an HL30 off of support back up, all in the same day. So we get an HL30 to sell it once, and then later in the same day we get an HL30 off of support to buy it back up. It doesn't happen every day, but it happens often enough to know how to use this technique precisely and to execute the way you're supposed to. So again, price then moves down to the previous day's low. Remember, we had the previous day's low down here at 1.3507. So price has to move within the 10 pip range. It needs to come down to at least 17, which is 10 pips above the previous day's high. And here it does that. It moves down low into the 10 pip range and then prints the reversal. Remember, these two candles formed a 1 hour engulfing bullish candle. That's exactly what I want to see. Now, this starts to look like a morning star pattern, maybe something that you're more familiar with. Again, trade the candle patterns that you understand right now, because those are the ones that are going to work the best for you. You're not struggling to try to identify it. You're not going to be afraid to execute. You need to get in on the close of that candle. So the close of that candle was 1.3530, using a 20 pip target and a 20 pip stop. So 30, we'd trade it back up here to 50. I did not place this tag at the right location. It was supposed to be down here at 10, 1.3510. You'll see exactly what happens. And again, the CCI is confirming it's printing a higher reading than the previous day's low CCI reading. So let's go ahead and take this out a couple of candles. And you'll notice how this one moved. This was later in the day, obviously during the New York trading session, and it reached that first target right up there, the 20 pip target at 1.3550. So we were able to sell an HL30 in the morning, or the first few hours of the start of a new day, and it reached the 20 pip target, and then we were able to buy an HL30 back up later in the day, different trading session, and it reached that 20 pip target up here. So this earned us 40 pips on this particular day. So what if you were trading 4 different currency pairs? So in this example, I want to show you a few places where the HL30s actually set up. Now, this is the euro dollar. This was a 5-day period of time. I stripped out all of the indicators so that way you can see exactly what's going on in here. And I also want to share with you that I have other techniques that allow me to trade some of these breakouts and other reversals and these big moves that you see here. But that's not what the HL30 is about. The HL30 is just about looking for the same pattern over and over again each day and just executing with the same stop loss and the same take profit levels all of the time. Every single time you execute this trade, it's always a 20 pip stop, 20 pip target. And that's really it's almost it's so comforting to know that you have a system that you can just repeat. You just do it over and over again. I mean, everybody can afford a 20 pip stop loss. That's really, really affordable for anybody. And a 20 pip target is very achievable within certain parameters of a trading day, a trading session, the highs and the lows, and just repeating the same behavior over and over again. Of course, every once in a while, some of these trades are going to fail. But if you do it correctly, you're going to see how many of these trades will actually reach their targets. Over and over again, just repeat the same behavior. So on this, we did a case study, and we looked at, these are trades that we executed. This was the euro dollar, and I'm going to show you 3 others. So this is going to be the 4 majors. 30-minute chart. Now, this trade, there was a total of 4 trades here on this week. Each one of these HL30s hit their 20 pip targets. Again, there are other strategies for trading the price movement in here, but we're just talking about the HL30. So on the euro dollar, on this particular week, this one 5-day period, there were 4 HL30s, and all 4 of them reached their profit targets. Now, on the next slide here, this was the pound dollar, and on this same time period, same 5-day period, same week, there was only 2 trades here that were HL30s. Obviously, there are other techniques in here that allow me to trade what you see, but as far as executing the HL30, I want to show you how many HL30s you could possibly anticipate or expect to get in a 5-day period if you use this strategy looking at the 4 majors. There was an HL30 here off of support, going up, and then there was an HL30 here on Thursday. Both of these reached their first profit levels. Now, I also want to mention that some of these also went to the second target, but we're just talking about if you would only use one lot and trade it to one target, which is the first target, and that's it. How much money you could potentially make with this strategy. Now this one here, this is the same 5-day period. This is the dollar yen, and I didn't see any HL30s. None of them really confirmed or lined up. There were some reversals, but they weren't HL30s. So I did nothing on Monday, nothing on Tuesday on the dollar yen for HL30s, but on Wednesday I got an HL30 to sell it, and then I got an HL30 to buy it. And both of them hit their first profit targets. Which was like that example I showed you just a few minutes ago. Again, only 2 trades, and both of them occurred on Wednesday. And I did nothing on Thursday because there was no HL30 and nothing on Friday. Now, of course, there were some breakout trades to the downside. There's another technique. We talk about that in another webinar, but that's not what we're talking about in this presentation. We're just talking about if you were to use exclusively the HL30 and to build a trading system exclusively with the HL30 trading system. Now, this is the dollar Swiss. This is, again, the same 5-day period. You'll notice that there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 HL30s, one each day. The first one actually failed. It didn't reach its first target. It went into profitability, but it didn't reach its first 20 pip target. But all of the others worked, and they reached their first targets. So even though we experienced a loss on Monday, on Tuesday, we earned that loss back. You can earn your loss back on the very next trade, as long as you execute this technique correctly. So that was 4 currency pairs in 5 days. 1 week period, they were all the same week. Only 1 trade failed. There was a total of 13 trades. If each trade earns 20 pips approximately, there was 240 pips earned in 5 days, in 1 week, just using the HL30. We're not even talking about using other reversal patterns or the breakout trades that I showed you there. I have a strategy called the continuation breakout trade that allows me to trade big trending moves and breakouts. But we're not even talking about that. There was 240 pips that you could have earned on this particular week using the HL30. Many of my subscribers and clients use a standard lots. So they're trading and they're earning approximately $10 per pip. One of my coaching students actually sent me an email on this particular week. That's why I decided to do the case study on that week and to identify how many trades were actually there. And he earned just over about $2,400, $2,400 repeated. I had another coaching student that actually used the HL30, and after the first week of learning it from me, we had 26 trades, 26 HL30s on the 4 majors in 1 week, and only 3 of them were losing trades. It's a powerful trading system. Now, I'm going to show you some recent HL30 trades. Now, this is the dollar Swiss. This actually occurred December 2nd. So this was the rollover leading into December 3rd. Again, December 3rd, that was a big day. In case you missed it, FOMC, comments from Janet Yellen, and then we had interest rate decision with the ECB today, and then also with Mario Draghi. So on the start of the new day, you'll notice that there's a dotted line right there, just on the other side of that white line. That's the start of the new day. This white candle is the first candle of the start of the new day on December 3rd. I already know, again, as soon as the rollover occurs, I know where my resistance and my support levels are. So this printed a low of 1.0179. You can go ahead and look at your charts if you watch this relatively, if it's recent for you, if you want to go ahead and go back to this particular day, and you can see how it worked out. So again, we need price to reach that 10 pip range. If the low here is 79, price needs to go, 78, price needs to go down to at least 88. So the signal candle, that first candle right there goes as low as 78. It actually goes to the actual low of the previous day. So it's already fulfilled that 10 pip range that I talk about. Price needs to go down to at least 10 pips. Now, again, notice that some days price might close right in the middle of this range. At that point, if it closes in the middle of this range, then I know I have to wait quite some time to get an HL30, and I'll just set in some price alerts as it approaches the 10 pip range. I don't know which direction it's going to go. I just wait. In this particular day, and on some days, it's worth watching. It might happen. It might set up right away on the first candle of the start of a new day. Every day is different. Now, the CCI was also printing a higher reading on the close of that candle compared to the actual low in price of the previous day. So it was printing a higher reading. So step number 1, it has to approach the 10 pip range. Step number 2, I wait for the reversal signal candle. And step number 3, I need that CCI to confirm. There cannot be any divergence. So my entry is on the close of that candle. Now, on the close of that candle was at 1.0189. That's my actual entry. And I use a 20 pip target, and I use a 20 pip stop. My target is here at 1.0209, and my stop loss was here at 1.0169. So let's go ahead and take this out a few candles, and we'll see how that worked out. There was a little move higher, and then for a few hours, it just went sideways. Remember, this is after the rollover period, and very often, there isn't always a big reaction. I mean, we don't usually see a big move unless something's happening. Comments, statements, a reaction, expectations, something like that might move price a little bit faster. So you see it took a few hours to actually build up a little bit momentum, and it actually hits the first target right here. It goes as high as 11. So there we take and lock in our profits right there, 20 pips. This was before FOMC, but I'll show you a trade that I got a signal before FOMC. I'm sorry, not FOMC, the ECB rate decision. So this was obviously many hours before the ECB rate decision, but I got a signal today on another pair, and it allowed me to get into the trade before the news, and then with the ECB rate decision, that was the momentum or the catalyst that pushed price right into my target. I'll show you exactly what that. Now, this is the dollar yen. It's a 30-minute time frame again. So we had the previous day's high. Remember, this is December 2nd. This is December 3rd. And we had the previous day's high. We had the previous day's low down here. So I know if price is going to approach resistance, it needs to go, step number one for the HL30, it needs to go up to at least 10 pips below the previous day's high. So here's 66. It needs to go up to at least 56. On that candle right there, it went up to 56. And then it printed this reversal signal candle. So let's take a look at some of these that look more, they look more picture perfect. They look more like an evening star or morning star or an engulfing candle. Now that second red candle there engulfed the previous candle. That's exactly what I want to see. That is an engulfing candle to me. It also eventually develops that evening star pattern. Now on that high, it printed a lower reading on the reversal signal candle than the previous day's high. So my reversal signal candle here is on the close. The close was at 47. I actually executed this trade today. So 47 was my entry. 67 is going to be my stop. And 27 is my target. This gave me an entry and the signal before the ECB rate decision. And I do not hesitate to execute these trades because it works like this every single time that I do it correctly. You could potentially make mistakes, and that's why you need to improve your ability to identify the conditions that are perfect and the criteria for this particular technique. But if you do it correctly, it'll work just like this. And I do it all of the time with the news events. I'll show you even back over here a few days ago, we actually traded an HL30 off of resistance and sold it. And then we traded an HL30 off of support and bought it. That was the same day. It happened here on the dollar yen just on December 1st. So 20 pips to the downside, 20 pips to the upside. So let's take a look at this one, what happened here with the ECB rate decision. So it took a little while, and then when the ECB rate decision was released, this was the reaction. It dropped right down into my take profit level. So I earned 20 pips on this trade. And you'll notice that in many instances, these continue for a second target. We're not even talking about the possibility of a second target. The second target from 27 is down here at 0.7, right down here. And you'll notice on the pullback, it would not have stopped us out at the break even. It just pulled back up a little bit, but that second lot would have remained in play, and it hit that second target. So effectively, 60 pips was the result today. So that was how we traded this most recent trading activity today. There was actually an HL30 on the pound pound yen, and there was a HL30 on the pound dollar today as well. And that gave a great opportunity to trade that to the upside. HL30s worked perfectly today. Again, it is a very specific type of technique to trade inside. For the most part, what we're looking at is consolidation. We're trading off of the previous day's high and low, and that's it. So our expectations, we've got to get our expectations in line. We have to do this right. We have to realize that we are trading in relatively tight trading ranges based on the previous day's high and low, and that's why the take profit level is 20. If it develops into a trend later on and you want to participate and earn more money, then you would have to put 2 lots onto the trade so you could get that second target. Now, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Now, I want to personally help you implement this system into your daily trading routine. So you've been watching this webinar with me, and I appreciate we've been talking just about 50 minutes or so, and you know that you need a solid, robust trading system that will allow you to safely trade in all market conditions. And that's why I designed the best Forex trade copier program. It's the same program built on my experience since I started trading in 2001. Now, the best Forex trade copier is about getting you results, real results. You can use this trade copier with a live account or a demo account. It basically duplicates all of the trading activity that I make or I execute in my MetaTrader account. So it's really like having me trade for you. If I make any adjustments to the trade, if I take profits at certain levels, it will instantly do the same thing on your trading platform, even while you're sleeping. Now, there's no account balance requirement. You can use the trade copier service with a $200 account or a $250,000 account. It really doesn't matter. It's all up to you how much capital you have available to trade. And you can always increase the amount of money that you want to add to your account at any time. I do not have direct access to your trading account. This is actually installed like an EA, and it installs onto your MT4 account. I can also help you install it if you like. I use a program called TeamViewer where I log onto your computer and I set up the installation for you. It takes about 15 minutes or less. It's really easy. It also comes with an installation wizard. Now, you can turn the trade copier off anytime you like. So it doesn't have to automatically place trades for you if you don't want to. You can shut it off just by clicking one button. You can log in to see the trading results anytime. You can log in from a smartphone device, your laptop, computer at work, wherever you are. You can always log in to see what the results are on the performance. Now, you can also execute your own trades at the same time that you have this trade copier installed on your MetaTrader account, where I'm also executing trades for you. It will work with any MT4 platform. Any MT4 platform, doesn't matter where you live, in Germany, South Africa, Canada, UK, United States, anywhere, Mexico. It will work anywhere, Japan, Hong Kong. It works anywhere. It just has to be the MT4 platform. It will also work with any 4 or 5 digit broker. It automatically detects if they're using the 4 or 5 digits, and it also detects the extra characters that a lot of brokers will use to customize their trading platform with those symbols. The trade copier immediately detects it and identifies it and then makes the adjustment. Now, you also get to specify the lot size and the leverage that you want to use. The best Forex trade copier has been an evolution process since July of 2007. That's when I actually started not only my first chat room, but as a result of my first chat room, that's where I got my feedback. A lot of my students in my chat room, they would say, Joseph, sometimes I'm sleeping and I'm not able to make the chat room. Have you ever considered something like a trade copier? And that's when I started offering the trade copier as a solution to people who were missing a lot of my trade calls. So this particular program has helped my per students earn the following. Now, this is a subscriber who uses the trade copier. This was an email that I received from him. The subject line read, "Really great stuff," and the email, when I opened it, read, "Just wanted to drop a line and thank you for the material that you sent me the other day. You really didn't have to do that. I really appreciate it. You're one of a kind in this business, one of the good guys for sure. The new material really is really fantastic. Last night I traded just one of the setups you showed and on 3 different currency pairs and made over $2,000. He actually did that in his live account as a result of using the trade copier to execute these trades just like this. And he doesn't even have to execute any of the trades himself. He actually operates a full-time business. Another subscriber sent me a message, and it reads, "Dear Joseph, thank you for your reply. I appreciate it a lot. And thanks for all the trades that are popping in positively. I just woke up with another $974 USD profit with the Euro-Yen trade that you took." And he mentions, "I finally found an honest signals provider." Now, this system has a proven track record. It carried me through the global financial meltdown. I used the same techniques over and over again through 2007, 2008, 2009, the Eurozone crisis. Every crisis, it's carried me through the system. It's always been the same. I've never changed it. So in case you're wondering how it's going to work in the future and if it might change, if it might start not working in the near future, it's not the case because I built this system on solid market principles. I built it based on how price moves and how traders react to that price movement. So one of my coaching students, one of my subscribers sent me an email. It was a communication that we were going back through email, and he mentioned to me, "I must say that I'm impressed that your trading methods have not changed that much in all of these years. And that says a lot about the methods. This was actually one of my first subscribers to my chat room back in 2007. Now, these are my results and the results of some of my students. And again, my results and their results are not typical, and they're to show you the power of using a proven system. And again, I'm not guaranteeing that you or anyone else will experience the same results as a result of watching this video and just getting a basic understanding. You really need to understand how to execute these trades correctly and the proper trading environment and the proper conditions. Using this program does require action. You either need to execute these trades yourself, or you need to fully automate the trading system by using the best Forex trade copier. That trade copier will automatically execute those trades for you because I'm trading for you. I trade around the clock. I trade from Monday to Friday. I trade the Asian session, the London session, and the New York session. A lot of people ask me, well, Joseph, when do you sleep? Normally, it's during the Asian session because that's when it's kind of quiet. But as I mentioned, I'm at my desk at 5 p.m. New York time because that's actually 2 p.m. in the afternoon for me in California. So I can see the start of a new day, and I'm watching and setting up my charts. And when I get alerts, I know where those 10 pip ranges are. I have alerts, and so that way I'm notified if I am sleeping. I can immediately be prepared as price approaches those 10 pip trading ranges, and I can get those HL30s for you. So this is the simplest and the most profitable trading model I've ever seen and used, and I want to personally help you implement it. But it's not for everybody. There are requirements. It's just the one basic simple requirement is that you have to be using the MT4 platform, the MetaTrader 4 platform. If you're using MetaTrader 5, you can ask your broker to switch you to the MetaTrader 4 platform, and my trade copier will work perfectly on the MetaTrader 4 platform. Again, as I mentioned, the trade copier comes with an installation wizard. So in closing, if you've lasted this long into the webinar, then you probably realize that you really want to succeed as a trader in this business, and you're tired of not earning what you truly believe you're worth. I have really good news for you. You deserve to earn what you feel you're worth. And for many of you, it's your obligation to earn what you're worth for the benefit of your families. We all, at one point or another, we learn that we have to overcome fear in order to get what we want or to succeed at something, and this business demands that we do that. Having someone in your corner who supports you and can help you will make a huge difference and can literally change the outcome for the better. We all will face the question, should I continue with this dream or should I walk away? And I really have to wonder where I personally would be today if I didn't have my support team in the beginning. If you really feel that you can do this and you really want to do it, then you should. Regardless if you and I work together or not, you really should do this. And once you've reached your goals, and you become truly successful in this business, you're going to be able to look back and see that you are blessed with all the opportunities that this business can provide us with. Now more than ever, you really need to provide for yourself and your families and provide financial security and take matters into your own hands. And I would be honored to help you do it and to be in your corner. If you would like me to help you perfect your ultimate trading lifestyle that will provide you and your family with stress-free abundance and to earn what you're truly worth, I would be more than happy to help you do so. You can sign up by using the URL just below inside of this slide. I'm going to post it here in the chat room. Or if you're watching this as a replay, there's going to be a button just below this video, and you can go immediately straight to that page. Now, this trade alert system, it will help you achieve your goals. It's not a complicated system that will keep you learning or struggling for months at a time. My goal is to get you to your goal as quick as possible and getting you to live a life of stress-free abundance, knowing that you are providing for your families and yourself. Now, a few questions. The first one is it a signal system? Yes, it is a signal system, but it's fully automated because you're using the trade copier. So when I first started my chat room in 2007, I would call out my trades live. And if people were not in the chat room, they would obviously miss them. So then I started doing SMS text messages in 2007. And people were still missing some of those because sometimes they were sleeping. It depended on where they were, where they lived. So then a lot of my students in the chat room would say, why don't you try Trade Copier so that you can actually do this for us? That'd be great. Would you mind? And I said, no, actually, I think that sounds like a great idea. I'd never heard of anything like that. I was just busy trading my own account, that private managed fund in my own family account. So I started my experience with the Trade Copier. So it is basically a signal service, but everything's converted and changed for you into that automated system so that way you can get these trades executed for you. The next question is, will it work anywhere in the United States or anywhere in the world? Yes, I'm in the United States, so it'll work anywhere, but it works anywhere you live as long as you're using the MetaTrader 4 platform. You can start using this automated Forex trading system right now. and you don't have to pay $169 per month. Today, if you use the link that I provide you here in the chat box, or if you use this button if you're watching the replay, you can get the trade copier service with me executing these trades for you with a one-time payment of $199.95. That's it. You never have to pay anything else again. There's no monthly fees. There's no monthly service fees. Your credit card's not going to be charged again or month after month. It's just a one-time payment of $199.95. That's it. And I still include my 30-day monthly guarantee. So if I ever have a negative month, a losing month, I will give you back your money. That's my guarantee. I mean, I always close every month with a positive monthly gain. Some of the questions are popping up about this offer. It is a lifetime membership. Yes, you're correct. It is a lifetime membership to use this trade signal service. I never increase it. You never get charged. If I ever increase the price on a monthly subscription on the regular page of my website, you don't experience any of that. You're never going to be affected by it. You're always going to be able to use it. How long are you going to be trading and offering this? I plan on trading for the rest of my life. I'm relatively young. I'm going to continue to trade until I can no longer look at a chart. I love trading. I've been trading full-time, nonstop since 2001, and I love to trade. I love to be, at my desk analyzing and looking at price and reading economic data reports and just analyzing all of it, just absorbing everything. I love the opportunity. It's awesome. It's me and the market, and that's it. And it's just a wonderful experience. And it truly has given me and my family the opportunity to realize a lot of our dreams as a result of the money that I earn from trading. I exclusively trade. That's all I do. And I'm just really passionate about it. I'm going to be doing it for the rest of my life. No, there is nobody else that executes these trades. I'm the only trader. I'm the only trader that executes these trades. It is me trading for you as a result of using the trade copier. I mentioned adjustments. You're talking about making changes to maybe the parameters to the trade? If I make any changes, let's say, for example, every once in a while, I mean, we all know that sometimes price isn't going to do what you think it's going to do. I mean, every once in a while, things can change. And if something happens and I need to make a change to the take profit level, let's say I decide if it's an HL30 and I don't close it at 20 pips, I close it at 17 pips. If that's the case and I automatically close the trade myself on my end, the trade copier will instantly do the same thing on your trade copier. It is right away, that instant. I've tested it. I've been in chat rooms with some of my coaching students, and I take trades and they tell me it feels like right away, like the moment. I'm using my microphone. I'm not even typing in that I executed a trade. I'm using my microphone and they'll tell me, yep, got it. And I've also tested it in trading platforms in my office with different computers, and it is fast. It's instant. There is no delay. Do all brokers allow the use of trade copiers or EAs? It really depends on your broker. So that's one of the first things you want to find out if you're not too sure is ask your broker. Will they let you use a trade copier with a signal service, or will they let you use EAs, expert advisors? This installs actually like an expert advisor. Yes, there's instructions on how to install it and download it. That is correct. I do have a members area. So as soon as you sign up, you get 3 emails from me. The first one's a email confirmation of your purchase. The next one is a direct link to the members area where you can watch videos on how to install it, what's it required to set it up and everything. And then you also download the trade copier right away. And if you need any assistance with the trade copier to install it, there is an installation video, and there's also an installation wizard with the trade copier. But if you get stuck, if you need help, I'm certainly available, and so is Michael. He's my tech support guy. He can help you install it as well. At the third email is the bonuses, the trading course. Yeah, you get direct access to those. All the material, all the bonuses and everything, that's yours to keep. I mean, you have access to that in any time you want. There's videos so that way you can learn my entire trading system. Is the HL30 the only trade that you execute with your trade copier? It is not. I trade and execute the HL30, of course, but I also execute the continuation breakout trades, Tech 1 trades, T2 patterns. These are all techniques that I developed, and you learn all about them. So you're actually going to make more money than what I showed you as a result of just using the HL30. If you use this trade copier and I'm trading for you, it will execute all of the trades. The largest size stop loss that I use is 55 pips. So remember, we were talking about the HL30, and it requires just a 20 pip stop loss. But on my continuation breakout trades, they will often pay more than 55 pips, but my target is always 55 pips, and I use a 55 pip stop loss. So the largest stop loss that I ever use on any technique ever is 55 pips, and I always use a 55 pip stop loss. I don't let it open, an open-ended trade where it's like negative 100 or negative 200 or 300 or whatever. I always use a 55 pip stop loss. But one of the advantages to using this particular trade copier is that when you install it on your MetaTrader account, you can specify the maximum stop loss you're willing to accept. So if my maximum stop loss is 55, then set in 55 inside of the trade parameters of the trade copier. So it will never exceed, and it always creates that extra level of protection for you and your capital of 55 pips. Don't set it to 40, because again, if I'm trading a continuation breakout trade and I need to use a 55 pip stop loss, if you set it at 40 but I'm using 55 and it goes down to 42 and it closes, and then it goes up to the 55 pip target, you're not going to get the same results. We actually had some great continuation breakout trades on the euro dollar and on the dollar Swiss later on after the ECB rate decision. We earned 55 pips trading the euro dollar to the upside and 55 pips trading the dollar Swiss to the downside on both of those trades. There were some great continuation breakout trades today. And again, the largest size stop loss that I use is 55 pips. I think I already answered that question on the one-time payment. No, that's not going to last forever. The question is, how long is this special offer going to last, or how long are you going to offer it? It's not available. I might discontinue it right away because I'm actually going to provide a couple of other different services, and I actually do some additional coaching. So it's not an offer that's going to be available for too much longer. Yes, you can use it on a demo account. That's right, demo or live account. That's correct. I recommend always in the beginning, when you're testing something out, even a signal service, to use it on a demo account. I know that that really eats up into some of the subscription time, and that's why it's really advantageous to use this one-time payment, the $199.95, because once you have it, you can use it as long as you want. You never have to make any other monthly payments. So you can add it to your demo account, test it out, play around with some of the settings, see what lot size you want to use, things like that. Look at some of the performance that you get from me, and then you can move it over to your live account. It's really easy to use it over to your live account. Yes, that's correct. A 30-day money-back guarantee. It just simply means that if I ever have a negative month, I give you your money back. Because I've never had a negative month. I work really hard at closing each month with a positive monthly profit. Obviously, some months are better than other months. Some months we might have, fewer trading opportunities, and that is all because of the market conditions. It's not me. All I can do is just wait for the signal to develop and wait for the breakouts. For example, today, we had a really big trading day, but that was because of ECB, FOMC, things like that. Other days it might just go sideways and not do anything. It's possible. Yes, the only times that I don't trade are during major bank holidays. So, for example, with Christmas here in the United States, I celebrate Christmas, and then also with New Year's. Of course, we're not going to trade on those days. I had Thanksgiving in the United States, so we didn't trade on Thanksgiving, but I traded immediately after, and the London session right after on Friday, and then we traded the London session on Thursday, the day of Thanksgiving, and then I stopped, and then I spent time with family. What if I get sick? Even when I'm sick, I'll trade because I really don't get sick that often. Control, and I really have to. I have to control everything because I'm really trading around the clock, and sometimes I might have to stay up 18, 19 hours, sometimes trading if it's really busy, and so it's a matter of controlling the environment, but I don't really get sick. If I get sick, maybe I'll catch a cold, a little bit of a fever, but I keep working through it. It's not really anything too big. I guess if the day comes when I really get sick, I might take some time off, maybe 1 or 2 trading sessions to sleep and rest. But the signals, the trading system, I've been doing it for so long. I just repeat the same thing. I just wait for the same signals. I don't chase price. I don't get in just because it's moving. I need a precise signal or I won't execute a trade. I need to know why it's moving. I take into consideration economic data. It is not my system is not, it doesn't require me to get in to a trade the split second that the economic data is released. So if you have a broker, if you're working with an MT4 broker and you've noticed that the price freezes around certain economic events, you're still going to get a trade, because I don't execute a trade immediately right after the news is released. Normally, I'll wait for that 30-minute candle to close after the news is released, and then I get a signal. Very often, that's what will happen. If I don't have a signal before the news, very often after the news and the movement that was created because of the news, the reaction, that ends up setting up a signal for me. It really does work like that very often. I just sit and wait. I just wait for the opportunity, and I take it. I trade 6 different currency pairs. So right now I'm trading the 4 majors that I mentioned, and then I also trade the euro yen and the pound yen. Those are the other 2. So I trade a total of 6 different currency pairs. Yes, you have to set up your charts and open them so that the trade copier will execute the trades on any one of those currency pairs that I trade. That's correct. It's really easy, really easy. The videos that I have 3 total of 3 different videos that show you not only how to install it, but the different leverage and lot sizing that you should use based on the amount of capital that you have. Well, I cover it all. Yeah, it's all in there. Very easy. The installation only takes just a few minutes. So if you purchase this, now, I mean, if it's Thursday, you can have it set up for the trades that I execute on Friday. Yes, that's correct. Yeah, any MT4 trading platform. Yes, that's right. Okay. I just want to make sure I understood what you're talking about. Okay. Yeah, so you can sign up right now. Again, click the button or click the link in the chat box that I've already provided you. It'll take you straight to this one-time payment page. It's a special limited offer. And again, if you're watching the replay, just click the button just below this video and it'll take you straight to that page. Scroll down to the bottom and you make your payment. If you experience any problems with the payment method, if you're sometimes people from outside of the United States, they might have a little issue with their bank, they might block it or something like that, or whatever it is. If you experience any problems, first of all, if you experience any problems with the payment method, try a different browser. But if you have any problems with it, contact me and I have alternative payment methods for you, just in case it doesn't work. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Time is of the essence. Yeah, I don't have an exact date of when I turn off the limited time offer. It's just going to be, that page will be deleted from the website when I'm done with it. I might not offer this again after the first of the year. Right, I am moving on to a different, a different offer. Actually, the price is going to change. It will be increased from $169 per month. After the first of the year, yes. No, there isn't a maximum number. I get to the point where a lot of people are using it, and I've got my tech support guy working quite a bit, helping with questions and things like that. But no, we don't ever reach that level. That's correct. Yep. Yeah, just as soon as you sign up, you get instant access.